Aloha Kohala. It is 3 o'clock here on, what is today's date? April 10th, 2024. We changed our clock a little bit. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Intuitive Talk Story with EILA Allgood and
MICHÁL Anna.
And, well, there's a lot going on. We just had a solar eclipse.
We did.
Yeah. And
boy.
A lot of people talking about that and what the impact is. And
a lot of people are going through major transitions, movements, upward motions, lessons, letting go, surrenders. We talked a lot about surrender last time. And there we go. And that theme continues. Really, in client work, as you may or may not know, I'm a practitioner that sees clients in doing trauma release work and body work, light work, spiritual guidance, counseling kind of stuff, and multidimensional ancestral releases and kind of getting into shamana stuff, kind of things like that. So what I'm seeing really across the board in client work and then experiencing in my own self is a lot of people making changes, letting go of things, and the opportunity we talked about last time is to dump kind of our spiritual garbage, and that really is available to us right now.
What do you mean? When you say that? What
dump your spiritual garbage.
I love that. I love it, but I'd like to know what you mean by it.
Well, I mean, so there's a lot of things we do things, and this kind of, we do things because we're trying to get something out of it. We think like if I could just I saw that one moment with EILA where EILA and I connected and it was so good. And maybe I don't experience that with you all the time. I only, but I'm looking for that moment. Mm-hmm. Maybe I keep going to see you because I'm looking for that moment.
Right.
That means I'm reaching for something out there, which kind of leads me to this phrase of staying in the center and no reaching. That's been coming to be heavy all the time from the guides. Just stay in the center, reach for nothing. Yeah. So when we're reaching, we have this fantasy or illusion attached to it. So it's kind of like it's a spiritual garbage. It's not actually real. Mm-hmm. It's an illusion because I'm not actually going to get that thing I think I want to get. I already have everything, A. Mm-hmm. And B, there's nothing out there. I have to get it within myself. It's inside of me that I have to go look for it. It's just I'm thinking I can have it out. It's a dangling carrot. Things become carrots. So our spiritual garbage is all the carrots that we're dangling around us. Like, I don't need all those dangling carrots. I can just sit in the center, reach for nothing, and be in the allowing this rainbow golden spiral to lift us upward as we spiral upward, just sitting in the center. If we're reaching for the carrots, it's like we're falling off the spiral.
Well, if you're reaching, if you think about it, or you're riding a bike and you start reaching for something to the left, to the right, you're going to go off balance.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know what I did once, and this is a shout out to my Uncle Chris out there who paragliding. It's how we actually met because it's been a long time, Ohana. And anyhow, I was paragliding with another friend of mine, and the kind. Oh my goodness. It's like that. I thought I shouldn't have been on this particular cliff. Let's just say that. And so I'm up in the air and I'm literally looking at a tree going, I'm not going to hit that tree, but I'm staring straight at it. I didn't turn my wing. God. And my feet just hit it. And I spun around and landed in the next tree and my wing just blanketed the tree.
Yeah.
And I just was deposited like, dink.
Yeah.
I just unlashed myself and shimmied down the tree, but it took us hours to get the wing out. Sure. Some people came over that's how I met my uncle. And it was just hilarious. This is this is like 2001. So a long, long time ago, but not on the upper road. Anyhow, point is, I was looking directly at it thinking I'm not going to hit it, but I'm looking directly at it.
Yeah.
So wherever we keep putting our focus, whatever we keep our attention on, we're going to manifest.
The more you say, I'm not going to.
I'm not going to hit that tree, but I am.
I'm looking at it and I'm talking about it. But fortunately, you were okay.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Fine.
Well, when you're talking just now, it reminded me of how people can be when they're in a new relationship, a new romantic relationship. They have this magic moment with somebody, and then I want to have that again, and I want to have that again, and I want to have it. It's that reaching for something that you think is outside of you. And I remember years ago having that kind of feeling and really getting the message. It isn't about the other person. It's about how you feel about yourself. So you can create those feelings, that magical feeling within yourself about yourself and your life. And it doesn't have to be reaching and putting expectations on anybody else.
Well, when you bring up the relationship thing, I've marveled at kind of myself, and I've been in that myself, but just the setup of what goes down, of how much sovereignty is given away in a quote unquote romantic or love relationship. Like, the word "I love you" is very tainted. I mean, people use that to weaponize things a lot. You can use that in many ways. What does it mean to love someone? Does it mean I have to put up with every single thing that's going on in your world? Does it mean that I'm now in charge of your problems? Like, that's what often happens in relationshiping. We end up taking, meshing everyone's stuff. Like, now I have to deal with everything you deal with, when I just really loved you as a soul. I appreciated you as a person. We share, intimate moments, and we love your mind and your artist, your whatever you are, right? With all these things about you. So it's an interesting game that, like, it's not like that everywhere on the planet. The setup's exactly like that.
Sure.
Some still live in more village or communal setups, but I always found that we get put into this framework that already puts us at a disadvantage. What you're supposed to live in, like, a little box with one other person, and have
that's
a child,
it.
and that's supposed to be, like, fulfilling and good for you, which doesn't, because, well, women need support. They need other women to support them, because they're usually the ones doing all the work with the children, etc. Men are often making money or doing, a labor or this kind of thing, doing those kind of things. But, they're not holding a lot of that emotional space.
Right.
And women really are doing that. And at this framework, at the time we're at right now, if I just speak my heart, it is that I have learned through this last cycle that the only way home is in surrender to the Holy Mother, and in surrender to that, the feminine energy, the divine cosmic energy of that nurturing, compassion, intuition, love, connection to being held and supported, and I am loved, the energy of I am loved, the energy of that just in of itself. It's the energy of nurture. And what really happened here is, hundreds of thousands of years ago, we inverted into this patriarchal false parent, and like it skewed. It's like the women used to rule because the feminine rules, not the women per se, but the feminine energy, period. The feminine energy ruled because it holds the masculine in safety, actually, to be expressed beautifully. When it's not held by the feminine, what do you have? Well, look at all the wars. We have rape, pillage, take, steal, control, murder. That's usually what we've found through the ages if we look at history, right? So in order for us to move out of that paradigm, we as a society have to really go, I'm going to envelop the energies of that Holy Mother, of that divine feminine, and surrender and humble ourselves, humble our ego to this feminine energy, and ask for that to lead and guide us. So it's our relationship to love. It's our relationship to our mother energy. If we have had wounding with our mother in this lifetime, that's a harder road. Because the setups. So our setup matters. It helps.
Well, everybody's had some
hinders.
sort of wounding from mom, dad, family, friends, right? So
even
everybody
if it's
has
fabulous,
something. Even if we're
sensitive.
Even it's the ideal situation, there's still something, because it's just complicated. We're complicated people, and under the best intentions, there's going to be things that come up. So I think as we can each use our tools to work through those things, and know that there may be something else that you think everything's all clear and clean, and then somebody says something and you realize, oh, my mother used to say that, or my whatever, and there's a little bit more to do there, and that's okay. That's part of this process. I've met people who think that they had 25 years of therapy, and then they're done. And they're done. Like, they're done. They're not going to talk about anything deep. And, oh, no, I went to therapy for 25 years. I don't need to talk about my whoever and those relationships. And it doesn't seem like it's that easy.
It's not. In fact, it's not. Trust me.
And maybe it's not every day. We're not triggered every day, but things will come up.
Yeah, they do. And even when you're out of quote unquote triggers, I mean, there's whole other things that come up, and then there's whole other things that come up. So kind of for me, I think back to going wide. I mean, we're in the lowest framework possible. This is 340 we're in, and we're moving into a 5-dimensional framework. And so, but there's 15 dimensions in this matrix. So we're still so at the bottom. So anything we do here is still so much to learn. Like we're such babies in this form. Not as souls, we're all huge and magnificent and co-creators, and actually we're just all the light and we're all infinite. But in this framework, we don't understand that. We forget everything. We have to remember. We have to go through the trials and tribulations to understand ourselves, and really to understand the piece of the hologram that you represent or that you are, and know that you represent more than yourself. You represent other kingdoms, other people, other lineages, and you represent you have access within your being to your father's lineage, to your mother's lineage. So some of us, like I know for myself, I've played out a lot of crazy things in relationshiping, and have been through, some abuse in my earlier days, and short stint, but nonetheless. And I've had other very crazy, moments in my world. But I also realized my father's lineage, my mother, I have lineage things.
Yeah.
Like go back to like what's happened out there in our line. Oh, some stuff happened. I am playing out things from my line. And by me being able to go, I'm doing that, I can change it. I actually am like, okay, then I looked for the lesson. I looked for the thing I was supposed to be getting. Like, okay, I'm here for a reason. I'm in this movie because there's something here that I left, and there's something going on here. And that's how I kind of played this whole game up. I mean, I'm going to be 50 this year.
Yay! Another good number.
Yes. Ooh, what's loud in here? And it feels like this first 50 has been like this whole study into the human psyche, understanding the programming, understanding all these different aspects of the mind and how these programs click together and work, and that ultimately our opportunity is just to wash all that away and sit in the center, like go back to the beginning, sit in the center, reach for nothing. It's all just a grand illusion
that we're creating,
that we create.
Yeah.
And that we're so amazing in our creations.
Yeah.
We're so amazing in what we create.
And I think it's important if we can see, look back at our ancestors for clues to what we're experiencing, have experienced, and see where the connections are. One of the things I did a lot of from the time I was 40 till I moved here, really, so 8 years, was do a lot of public speaking on LGBT stuff, because I was experiencing a lot of oppression, and if I wasn't experiencing, I was also close to people who were experiencing it. And only recently, like within the past few years, I realized, well, half of me, my father's whole family was Jewish. And I get goosebumps. And maybe my working through my oppression, which in relationship to what those people had to deal with was not so much, helped them. Like if you clean up your stuff, if you work on your stuff, you're also helping those who came before you. Maybe their issue was different, but oppression is oppression, It doesn't matter what it's based on.
Exactly. And so thank you for bringing me back. Kind of is that you get to opportunity by us making these choices and studying the little pieces and programs. We're going, we're playing that out. Like that's my grandfather's stuff. That's like in the line. So I get to change it and go, the buck stops here.
Right.
No more is abandonment. No more of this program, whatever your thing is. I'm going to claim it, say it, speak it, and release it and forgive. And this is where that Ho'oponopono comes in beautiful again, to do that process of forgiveness. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, of just really bringing it into wholeness, that none of us know what we do, honestly. We are all players in this game, and we forget. And we are mean to each other. at different points because we're children who don't remember that we're amazing creators.
Well, and we get scared.
And we
You
get
know,
very
we're
scared, very
we're
scared.
We're going to be alone, or we're going to be destitute, or nobody's going to love me. And, you know, that goes back to some old programs.
Yeah. And it's very real. So
Mm-hmm.
be gentle with thyself, and especially in this time, because it's very tricky and it's easy to get stuck in a trap where we're reaching for something and then feeling very emotional or concerned or caught up in something. If you're feeling that way, you're in an illusion. It's an easy way to think of it. Like, it's an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And let me come back to center and reach for nothing and ground, use my tools, go back to my breath, even just breathing. Just coming back to your breath and letting it all go and feeling your body is huge. Bringing your attention often into a room is another tool, easy one that you can do like anywhere, in an office, anywhere, where you just are noticing I'm in a room. You just are noting in your mind, there's CDs on the wall. It says that. There's a table. There's a jar on the wall, on the table. You're just bringing yourself fully present, because you'll find that if you're wandering off somewhere or feeling anxiety about what's gonna happen or what might be or something out there, it's in your own head. Nothing's actually happened. You're just creating it in your mind. And you're actually safe right here, right now. I'm here in this room. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Because everything is okay in this moment. You know, is it going to kill me in the next 2 minutes? No. Now I can breathe then. Like, if it is going to kill you, get out of there. You know, like that kind of thing.
I was just watching something from this program that I'm familiar with, and she was talking about noticing what you see, like when you're in that place where you're kind of scattered. But so breathing is always there, and some people find that hard. It's almost like it's too much. It's not using the right senses for them, and she was talking about. Well, notice, like you said, notice the desk, notice the CD. And so you're using your eyes to notice some things. And then here, oh, I hear the fan going. Oh, I hear the sound of the computer.
That's the exact same thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that's all it takes you into the moment, right? Instead of being, oh, what am I going to do later? What if this happens? What if...
Because what also happens, like in a trigger, like we've talked about how you get pulled, like your 7-year-old self, let's say, was yelled at about your dad, and someone starts yelling at you. If my energy's still in that memory, I'm going to that memory. So I've left the room, actually. Yeah. And now I'm actually like, stop yelling at me. Stop being in trauma. I might start feeling something really intense. But if I can stop and go, wait, that's not where I am. I'm actually an adult. I'm in this room. Nothing's happening to me. Right, you know,
somebody's yelling. That's
or
all.
Somebody's yelling, and it has no bearing on me, and I can actually walk out of the room, or I have choice, or whatever thing you need to share with yourself. The point is that wherever it's not usually nothing that's happening when we get into a traumatic or a reactionary place. It's usually never the thing right in front of you. It's us triggering somewhere.
Yeah, responding based on something else.
We're reacting versus responding. We're reacting to something else, which disables us from just responding and saying, oh, no. Like if I'm like, are you frustrated, EILA? You'll just go, no, I'm not. Okay, great. But if you're in reaction, what do you think I'm frustrated for? You think I'm frustrated? What you think I'm not frustrated? What's wrong with you? Right. Okay. So it's a real two very different ways of interacting. So
very different. Very different. So we were talking earlier today, and we were talking about metaphors.
Oh, yes.
Remember? I wrote it down. All I had was a piece of paper towel, but I wrote it down.
This actually ties right into what we're talking about, which is we're talking about programs and getting caught in like consciousness traps and the need to stay in the center. So reach for nothing. Check yourself. If I'm going off center, why? What am I actually feeling? What am I looking for? What am I feeling? If I'm feeling frustrated or anything, what about myself is that hitting? What am I feeling that for? Because it's all in me. It's nobody else making me do something. I'm in charge of myself. So self-responsibility is a paramount. So metaphors, Ella and I were both saying that we both talk in metaphors a lot. I speak in metaphors and stories all the time, and I don't even really think about it because it's so much a natural thing. We're both poets. We both love poetics. We both love all
Yeah, I was
that.
just talking to somebody today, and they said, "Oh, that's a really good analogy." And to me, analogy and metaphor are connected.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And onomatopoeias.
and I do it all the time. It's
Uh-huh.
like it just happens. It's not like I think, "Oh, I wonder how I could describe this in a different way."
No, it happens real naturally.
Yeah.
And this is what I found, and this is a good one out there. I'm going to give you guys one of my favorite MICHÁL quotes, which is, we all know the devil's in the details. We know that quote, right? So it's really, the devil's in the details, and mock, mimic, dangle, that's the devil's jangle, or that's the separations jangle. If you have an issue with the word devil, it's just really, it means the separation, that which is separated from ourself. So whenever we're mocking, mimicking, or dangling, that's a piece of separation coming through us or coming through another person. And so we want to kind of catch that stuff, and we realize that we get caught when we're getting caught in the detail, like, what did you say? Did you say you went to the store?
Or you went to the store.
Or you were going to go to the store. No, it matters, EILA. Which one is it? And like, if we are getting caught up like that and these literal things, and we can go back and talk about these literal things over and over, and people do that incessantly, get stuck on something, and then it loops. That's a really, really clear consciousness trap. There are loops and so if you're getting stuck on a detail, you're getting siphoned into the separation. So going wide, metaphors are about going wide, because it's not actually just, you could tell it's, since everything is one thing, a metaphor is, because we can literally talk about the one thing in a trillion million ways. I told EILA, I've been writing shows for 20 years. I'm always writing the same show. It's always about the one thing. It's just some other angle of the one thing.
Yeah.
Another
way to phrase it.
Right. So metaphor is just a way to, we're just trying to explain that which is unexplainable. And if we get stuck on the detail, you tried to nail it down. It just moved again.
Yeah.
Because you can't actually nail it down like that. So what's your what does that interpret for you or spark for you?
The not nailing it down. Well, I feel sometimes I don't have the words to describe things or feelings or experiences, and sometimes a metaphor is another way to get it out. And that's where the poetry comes in. It's like there are some, for me, there, and I'm sure for everyone, there are some emotions that are so complex, deep, heavy, intense, whether it's joyful all the way down to super sadness. And it's like, I just can't say the word sad. I feel sad. What is it? And poetry, for me, is a way to express it using example or using story or using all of it. And it's not a lot of words. For me, it's about not having a lot of words and going on and on and on and on and telling a big story. It's getting right to the crux of it. And I love when I read a good line in poetry that's like, oh yeah, that's what that is. And it could be like a sunset, someone who writes about a sunset or a rainbow. Just the way that they phrase it and the imagery they give, it is much more impactful than saying that was a beautiful rainbow today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the same thing. I'm just thinking about writing myself.
Yeah.
I have a lot of poems that that I've turned into songs, but that are also still poems, and have been very meaningful and very poignant for me. I think it is the way we get to describe the world in a way that's, as you know, I like to say, unattached and amused. Staying unattached and amused. The life is a metaphor. I mean, life is a stage. We're all actors within it, and we are. That's a metaphor itself, right? And that's what it is, because we're all changing. Don't get stuck on the role, and that's kind of what those are all about. Is that you're like, well, my name's Susie. Well, yeah, in this incarnation, that's your act. You get to do Susie. But you aren't just Susie. You're a million things. You're a huge, infinite being. And this is just like a role in this lifetime that you get to play. And you can change up your roles based on whatever it is being called, what spirit, what God, what source, what your infinite wisdom leads you to. the more we listen, as we
Taking
talk
a
a lot
deep
about,
breath
to
as
our
you see
infinite
that
self, our
platinum
heart,
living
the heart of
light
God, and that's
filling
really
up
the
every
opportunity is to
cell
drop
of
into our
your
heart more
beingness,
and more, and
your
live from the
12 piece
heart.
shield,
If we're not living from the
pouring
heart,
living light
honestly,
through your
we're
being
still
as you
tricking
are
ourselves.
releasing anything else you
It's
don't
that
need
simple,
down
and
your
that's kind of like the
grounding.
metaphoric joke, back to that $4.99 at Reason, $500 at Love. It cracks me up every time because I'm just like, you're hilarious. 1 point. Like, what the heck? It's just 1 point jump, but it's a hard jump. That one last 1 point jump to sit in the heart and just live from there. Because it means we have to really drop our ego. We have to really go, who cares? And
Well, it's more than our ego too. It's also what we think the outside world wants from us.
right.
So maybe
Which is connected to our wounds.
maybe I feel like I don't want to open the store today because I just feel like I need to nurture myself, but the little person in me, the oh no, that's your responsibility. You have to go do that. And then it's like, how can you have a conversation with that intuitive part, with the logical part, and then get to a solution that you feel good about? Not just doing what the logical part says and not just doing what the heart says, but melding those two so that it's like, okay, I feel good about this. Now I own this.
I had two examples come up for me in my own path. One where I actually just took the moment to nourish
Thank
myself. I
God
was supposed to be at a
lives
show,
here,
and
breathing
they
that
had it
platinum
without me.
light
Like,
through your
I wasn't like
body
going to impact. Like,
as
they
you breathe
couldn't
They
do
weren't
it or
gonna
into the
something.
ruin
heart
it.
center.
No, it didn't ruin anything by any means. And I just knew I needed to like take time for myself and reset and go to the ocean and do other things for me. And I just said claim that and did that, and I was so grateful. It really let myself recharge, reset, and give me what I needed from myself so I can show up how I want to
The
show
next
up
time,
the
yeah.
next time, right? So I encourage all of us to listen when we need a break, because honestly, we can't all carry it all. I know a lot about that. I work, and I'm thinking I got it. I'll keep going, but sometimes we just can't, and we need to like stop and just take a break and go, it's okay, and give thanks. And I'm letting a lot of things go in my own world, and it feels great. It feels amazing and fabulous, and unloading to unload anything that I've thought I believed further. Just like, oh, I'm so grateful to let go. So grateful to not have to deal with these illusions. Like, they're just so tiring, and who's got time for that? And so I'm just so in gratitude for that opportunity. And then the other one that I was thinking about was, oh shoot, I lost it.
You know what?
Go ahead.
That's okay. We're going to take a station break. It's
Awesome.
3:28 here at KNKR. And we're going to take a little station break and then come back with some more intuitive talk stories. So please stay tuned.
Hey, Auntie Lonnie, how's it? Have you checked out the North Kohala Tool Library?
No, what is it?
Oh, they have all kinds of stuff you can borrow, from construction tools to hobby and crafting tools, even some party hosting stuff, things you wouldn't have even thought of as tools. You can search their online inventory of over 500 tools.
Whoa, how does it work?
It's a non-profit, and memberships are available to all Kohala residents.
Does it cost to check out tools?
Most of the tools are completely free to check out.
Whoa, that's awesome. Who's responsible for all this?
Everybody there is a volunteer, and they always need more help.
Okay, I'm going to go check it out, but what's their website?
You can Google North Kohala Tool Library or go to nktoolllibrary.org. They have all the info on there, including their location, hours, membership info, donation info, newsletter sign up, and even a form to fill out to become a volunteer.
Whoa, I'm going to go check it out now. Mahalo.
The Kohala Artists Co-op is hosting an Earth Day celebration themed Celebrate Mother Earth. Monday, April 22nd from noon to 4. Everyone is welcome to enjoy ukulele music, art, dance performance, bees, a keiki play, and a plastic shredder demonstration.
Aloha! This is EILA Allgood of Women's Voices. Please join me on Wednesdays between 4 and 6 p.m. on KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. We never quite know what we're going to be hearing because most of my choices are intuitive, unless they come from you, my listening audience, when you call in and make a request. I look forward to playing tunes for you. Aloha, welcome back. It is 3:31. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala with EILA Allgood and
MICHÁL Anna Carrillo.
Yes, and this is Intuitive Talk Story. We're here for another almost half an hour. And yeah, so we were talking about listening to the heart, and we were having a little story.
Yeah, well, I was saying one example that about that and what you were sharing, and about being true to yourself. And, you know, then you were talking about merging kind of the worlds. And just this week or last week, I had a little Kohala committee meeting for, if anyone out there is interested, the North Kohala Citrus Festival.
Cool.
Coming to you soon. Probably not this year, but next year. At any rate, but we opened sacred space and, you know, prayed and had, you know, that as our foundation of coming together and kind of doing a little moment of getting into the heart prior to talking about the business and whatnot that needs to happen. So it's just like a reminder for all of us, right, that we can live from our true creation perspective all day long, everywhere we go. It's not like, oh, I did my meditation, now I'm undercover and I have to just pretend the rest of the day or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, we can actually have authentic communion with each other. You can be brave out there, those of you who are holding that energy and going to places. Get brave. Encourage each other to be brave and offer, invite others to join you in the energy of love and join you in the energy of coming together with the spirit of creating more peace and harmony and more ease in our work and in how we commune together. The more we are asking that of each other and inviting each other to participate in that, the more we actually all get to the permission to show up in it, and it feels comfortable. Many souls, many people are just afraid to be in that safety because they haven't been safe, and it feels kind of vulnerable to kind of do those kind of things, right? And so if you are someone who is already feeling really safe, I encourage you to offer that safety with your radiant love and an open sacred spaces.
Yeah,
and help others to do that.
If you're gathering with people, you're getting together.
Well, and even in talking story with just one person, I even just open sacred space.
Yes.
Like, let's do that before we talk further so we don't have any issues, because I'm not here to do anything other than the highest good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I did it in the car before I came in.
Exactly.
Did my prayer, and I think sometimes people, we can be hesitant to do that because the word prayer is loaded for some people. You know, they're like, oh, is she going to start some religious stuff? I don't want to be involved in that.
Yeah,
so
we have a lot of connection and labels to
well,
words,
I think
right?
that goes back to programming and where we come from. But I think the terming, like, let's create sacred space together. And how would you like to do that over there? Or how would you like to do that? And maybe they don't know. It's like, well, how do you feel about we do it this way? Oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. Or no, I don't like that. Let's do it this way. Mm-hmm. And then you do that together. And I find when people do that to start a meeting or start a gathering, people I can feel them dropping into themselves, into their heart, maybe out of their head of all the things they wanted to say in this very important meeting, or even if it's a dinner or something, all these things that they have floating around in their head takes us into our heart, and then we can interact from that place.
Totally. And I feel so grateful because I have really gotten to refine my life to be so much more just what I'm wanting to experience and do in myself, and spend a lot of time deepening into the heart and helping others, and a lot of women deepen into the heart, which I love. And the women's work is so rich. A colleague Tara and I, have designed some beautiful women's work that we're just really activating, and it's so exciting. If you want to learn about that, please reach out. Don't reach, just come and connect.
We're not reaching today. Yeah.
No reaching, just connect. But it's really exciting that we get to move into more authenticity and more compassion as we let go of these programs, as we let go of these other illusions, as these ancestral cords,
And
these things,
expectations.
whatever buzzword you've got, dump it. Dump it, and let's jump on the golden spiral of love and harmony and get in alignment with what's going to feel good and fun and enlivening for my soul experience. And that's really the opportunity right now, as I understand it, is to merge with the higher aspects of your infinite soul, allow more of that infinite self to come in, and, claim that which you are. So if you've been a little timid in some way, go, no, I actually, I know this thing. This is me. I've always felt it. Be it. You are it. That is you. You're right. Trust yourself. You've got it. And that's kind of what EILA and I are saying about holding sacred space.
Yeah.
Many of you know, you're like, I'm a powerful prayer. I stand and I do my prayer. You do. So when you go somewhere, don't be shy. No shame. Don't be scared to go, you know what? Will you guys meditate, speak with me? However, like EILA was saying, create in a way that feels good and hold one another. These tools we've offered many times around grounding, connecting to source, I often present those as a means to start, different meetings, etc. And all of my sessions, all of the things I lead, I do those tools, and it's a profound difference. Even the gigs, I bring the people I do music with, I bring them into prayer circle and pray before we get on a stage. I've always done that. I've been doing theater work for 20 years. And, music and dance, that kind of stuff. And it's all about that getting into that field of unity. And that's another way you can think of it, as you're in the field of source, of the one. It's all God. It's all love. So if it's all God, it's all love. We're going into that unified field. And that's really where you can access anything and everything. Your particular brain and everything you've experienced is like your collection and library of experiences to offer metaphors, stories, to explain different things, because we're all explaining the same thing, just from our own little viewpoint.
Right, and we're all at different places on the experience of life. So
correct, yeah.
And so maybe I can put my hand out to this person over there, and then somebody over here puts their hand out to me, and we help each other on the journey, because nobody's got it figured out, or you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
And that's good. And one of the things that came up for me, I was talking with someone the other day, and is that I find it very, very important. Well, we were talking about this on the phone earlier. I don't want to just hang out with people so that I'm not alone. I desire, my heart wants to be around people that want to connect deeply, even if it's in without words. It's just that knowing of depth. It's not a need to be with somebody just for the sake of being with them. And in these past couple of years, also being around like-minded people, where I feel I could go to that person because they would get it. They would get my perspective on something. They wouldn't see the smallness of something, and they'd call me out on something if I was seeing it too small. We know about that too. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it goes back to, it's a solo mesh. We're trying to reach out there because we think that thing's going to give you what you want, but that thing doesn't have it. I have it, and so it's back to that. I feel really blessed. I'm an only child. I came in, early, and I was in an isolate for 2 months. So set up with the energy, 3 weeks. I was 2 months early. 3 weeks in isolate, which gave, I had to do some processing around that.
I bet you did.
But I've been kind of like a solo mission, the whole time, like dun, 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 and I felt like that, weaving and bobbing while they're all trying to get me, and I'm, trying to get to the thing. And it's been a magical adventure. I have a lot of stories, a lot of metaphors that I love to share in those departments of just story time of the experiences themselves and kind of what I learned from them. But the kind of the magnitude of, I just lost my thought.
We were talking about being with like-minded people.
Oh, thank you. I was trying. So I'm honestly alone a lot.
Yeah.
And in my experience, what I did, not consciously, I just did that. I put most of my energy not into I put most of it into teaching. I mean, I teach kids, I do community classes, I offer events. I've done all this. I do healing work and massage and serving, and I've really just focused on those things. And I haven't focused as much on like hanging out with people.
Yeah.
So honestly, because of exactly what you said, I do feel too. I don't really like to do small talk. I'm not very good at it. I often say the wrong thing. I'm just not, I'm so deep and intense or whatever you might think, but I am that I am. And I like to also be with like-minded people who can get that, or just experience things like dance and music.
Right,
where
experience
we're
something
experiencing
together.
the heart and the soul. And I get to hang out with people through dance and experience them. We may not agree on a topic, but we as souls are having a heart moment, and that's nurturing.
That's very
and
meaningful.
incredibly meaningful. And we don't have to have the same experience as people. And that's kind of what it's try to get all of us to see, is we don't have to actually agree on the movie, because none of us are having the same movie. We can just agree on the heart. And that feeling of like when we're all at a concert going, raving your hand up in the music, that's that moment in life. Like we're all just at the concert. Just see each other, and they're like, it's good, right? Yeah, you too. Love you, man. Love you. Like it could just be like that with all of us.
Yeah, but it's very, very powerful. When I was in Colorado, when I went to Red Rocks to
I
a
love
show.
Red Rocks. First place I ever went and saw a show.
Well, I had never been there. My brother, who had
fabulous.
lived there for 30 years, never been there. And we were at this show, and it was someone I really wanted to see. And just the energy of that place, and all these people were gathered with this enthusiasm. The performers, it's just such a beautiful high vibe, and people, strangers you meet, you're beaming, and you're all beaming at one another, and you're smiling at one another, and isn't that great? Yeah. And you don't know each other, and you're not going to see each other again, but who cares? You're just in this magical environment.
It is really fun. I've been doing performing arts and been behind the stage, most of the time, or on the stage, behind the scenes, and making those things, the magic happen. But it is profound, and I love it so much, because I love looking out and seeing the faces of the people who are being impacted, and seeing everyone come into that energy.
Yes.
And it is a wave of energy that you're creating that's just like this, come on, let's all go into this fun, beautiful place. And music is something that just brings us all together in a way that our words can't. We're not going to agree if we talk about it. Forget it. Let's just sing. Let's just play the song. Let's just dance.
Yeah.
Let's just be in this energy together.
Well, and the behind the scenes is extremely important, just like it is in life, because you're creating space for this magic to happen. So maybe I don't sing, but there are people who are going to sing, and I can help create the energy of that space so that they feel safe and they can do the best of what they do. And the people who come feel safe and they feel excited about. So it's all energy, right? So we're all bringing that beautiful energy up, and just talking about it, I'm excited.
Exactly, right? It's so much fun, because it's fun when we're creating from creation, which is without expectation, without our own desire. We're just playing. We're playing, and it's fun to play.
Yeah, I don't know that we do it a whole lot as we get older. We're not.
Well,
we're
I
encouraged.
do. I'm getting younger. I don't know about you.
Well, that's why I have my store, so I can go play every day.
Yeah, well,
I
you
created
gotta
my
play.
own playground.
We all create our own playground. It's up to us to do that. It's all in our head. Like, I remember literally sitting on the favelas in Rio de Janeiro, and it's literally the best view in Rio, like looking out over the entire ocean, and I'm the only person standing on the roof of the favelas, because it's very poor. It's like really crazy, like stacked little houses on top of a cliffside, like that you could feel like would topple over at any moment, and you don't even know how they're living. Like, I couldn't find it again if I tried, like where I was actually standing. And I'm looking out, and there's not one person out there looking at the view like I am, going, wow, this is amazing. They're all on the other side, like with their hands in their head, drinking some whiskey, feeling like they're all in the the down house, and they're not doing good, etc. So that's definitely on our head, right?
Right.
Like how we perceive what we're seeing out there.
Yeah.
It's all up to us, and that goes back to, what am I focusing on? where do I want to put my attention? Because I can think about how wrong it's going, but I'm just like the tree. I'm going to hit it then. Then I'm literally going to hit
Yeah.
the tree. And that's not going to help me. Now I'm
Yeah.
going to shimmy down and do all that. If I just put my attention, so maybe I don't want to look, I'm going to look over here. If I would have turned myself and looked another direction and moved
It
my
would have gone.
arms, I would have gone another way. See?
Right.
So it's like that simple for us. Just go a different way. Don't go into the tree.
Well, and don't keep looking at what you don't want.
Yeah, don't keep looking at what you don't want.
Don't
Yeah.
keep, because that's how we draw it to us, and that's that's a very concrete example.
It is. And I also want to offer, though, I know that many, and I speak for myself, we also are emotional beings. So even though we might know something, and I am myself going through some moments of peeling away layers and seeing things that I have to let go of, and there's some emotion in that. So my mental, spiritual, my higher self knows, yes, this is the direction, but my emotional body, there's moments it feels like, but I want it, and you're like, just have to soothe that part of you, because we are in the human form. And I myself, feel like I'm so strong, I can do it. But sometimes I need to break, and I need to cry, and I need to cuddle, and I need to be held. And we need these nurturing moments for ourselves. So, it's okay to have two things happening at once. You might be feeling really good about one thing, on another side of it, maybe you're licking your wounds, maybe you're processing, maybe you're finding your way in one area. So multiple things can be happening at the same time. It's not just one thing in that way. It's the one thing, but there's a million things inside the one.
Well, I think you bring up a really important point, because I've had these moments in my life where spiritually I had the big picture. I knew exactly what was going on and how it was how it was unfolding. It was okay. And emotionally, it was hard.
Right.
There was loss, there was sadness, there was whatever was going on, and whatever drama might have been going on. Even though I could see the bigger picture, I felt it was the right direction for me. I still had all these emotions I had to process, and somehow, going back 20 something years, I didn't quite understand that. It's like, well, I know I'm on the right path, and why is this so painful? Because that's part of it. Part of it is honoring the sadness, the loss, the pain, whatever comes up, and still kind of keeping your eye on the big picture, and this is where I need to be going.
Well, what I am realizing is, what I try to do, and with my own pain, is alchemize it. And so to me, our pain isn't it's not actually a loss, because nothing's lost from me, because we're all one. And this is part of the grand illusion that we're losing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go wide, it seems like it's like the pain I'm experiencing in one aspect, and I'm looking at it small. There's a part of holding myself and just it's okay. And then there's the, the going wide, to go, well, look what it's more of this honoring, right? If I can go to honor of the experience and the growth that I have had, the growth that the other person has had, the growth that we've experienced, the gifts we give in one another, the gifts we share, the gifts we express to each other. Mm-hmm. We are all doing that for each other in some way along the journey. And if instead of when people leave or lose, when there's perceived loss, it could it's more like if we can shift it. So if we can alchemize and shift again, throw it upright instead of an inverted paradigm where there's anything to lose, which there really isn't.
Right.
If we can set it up right and go, actually, you just gave me all these cool gifts, and I'm going to see you soon, because we're all from the same place.
Right.
We're all one, and I'm going to see you soon. Go have cool adventures. See you around. See you on the next one. Oh my God, I love you so much. Because I do still love you so much. I love we all love one another. It's our pain that keeps us from staying in this unified love, even though you might change form or relationship or change your dynamic to something. There actually doesn't have to be a shift out of love. Mm-hmm. And that's what the 3D does, or what we've done in this world, the view, where you think, oh, well, now I toss you, or it's a separation. You've removed yourselves. But no, we actually, if we could shift and go, we just don't need to learn this thing we've been learning anymore. And thank you for learning it with me.
Yeah.
And let's honor that. Mm-hmm. And then come into I'm actually receiving more rather than losing. Mm-hmm. And if we all could do that, we'd still be able to maintain, all the relations, all the things, with just infinite love for another being, another soul that's expressing themselves on the planet, and the gift that we share together.
I think also with what you're saying, with that realization comes freedom.
Totally.
I really get freedom when you're
Mhm.
talking. It frees you up to be who you are, and not whatever constructs you might have been in with somebody or with some buddies. It could be a whole family of changes that go on, and
It could be a workplace. It could be
could be workplace.
you know,
Yeah,
it could be anything. It could be
Yeah.
location. It could be just how you think of yourself in your mind. It could-
and to remember that everything there is a time for everything. Like when I was in my 20s, I worked in a company, and I really liked it there. It was like it was family, and it was like a family, and people looked out for each other. And there had to be a time where I wasn't going to be there anymore. And so there's a sadness to say goodbye, but then there's like, oh, new adventure coming up.
and see if you can apply, like, that's a great story. If we can apply that kind of unattached knowingness and amusement and joy, and you really, when you leave your work, you don't feel the same attachment that you do with like people that you become
Yeah.
closer to.
Sure.
So you're able to see, well, I'm so happy for that person to go off and do blah, blah.
Yeah.
So why can't I maintain that throughout all of my relations about other people's joy? Because we tend to want to start possessing it. And that goes back to that inverted false parent. The inverted false parent says, like the inverted masculine, which can show up in all women and men, all of us. It's the inversion of that, which is saying, I want to take, I want to eat, I want to have, I want to possess, I want to control. And that, so when we perceive that we're losing at something, it's because we perceive that we had it to begin
Right.
with, which you don't actually own anything.
Or
And
anyone.
Or anyone.
Yeah.
So you never actually had it. There's nothing to possess. It's actually an infinite field of love, and it's overflowing. So it also shifts you at, it's like one's perspective's coming from inversion, which is lack, and the other one's coming from abundance because, well, we are eternal Christ beings.
Mm-hmm. And coming together with that, the second part of what you're saying, without the control, without the I have to have it this way, that way, by coming together with that desire to love and to be, one and one makes many, because you can really be there supporting each other and guiding each other without the attachment of what it's supposed to look like.
Right. The
Yeah.
more we let go of what we think we're supposed to do, we allow what it really is. I mean, think of all the different people who've come in and out of your life, and they come in at the right moment that I'm learning about that thing. And I'm learning, and wow, you're here too, learning about that. Cool. We have a whole moment of life together, and then poof, we don't. Some people are stay in your life forever. Some come in and wave out. Some maybe you get to walk with the whole time. I see that more rarely now, it feels like, unless you've really found like a way to move through. I know like one couple in particular that I'm like, you're amazing. They've been together like 50 years and they work together and everything, but they're very spiritual beings and they're on an enlightened path of self-sovereignty. And they have a lot of space for each other, a lot of respect, a lot of boundaries, and they're very much in sovereignty in how they relate. And at this point in the game, I kind of think that's the only way to go, because otherwise we're just siphoning or blaming or trying to get our needs met through some other human. And really, that's a losing game, because the only person who can meet our need is, well, yourself, myself. I'm the only one who can meet my needs, me. And so we give thanks for that opportunity to see those things. But so that's like, okay, so instead of going, for anything, let's give our emotional body some love. If they need to, what do you need? You need a cookie? Have a cookie. What do you need? You need a hug? Have a hug. And then let's turn that frown around, right? And turn it upside down. And let's remember that you're an eternal, conscious, loving Christ being who's so infinite. And this is just one of your many adventures. And it's just that, an adventure book, an adventure story. This is not the end all. This isn't decide your whole soul. This one life, I had kids, I had a husband, I had a wife, I had a career, whatever you did, doesn't actually matter. It's about you experiencing yourself. The story is kind of just for you.
Yeah.
It's just for you.
It's a framework that we
create so we can learn.
Stepped into so that we could learn things. And you learned what it's like to live without a sibling. I have a brother. I learned some things through that.
Exactly.
And somebody else had something else. Maybe when I was just watching something and they said there was 7 kids, I'm like, what?
My
Like, I
dad's
can't
one of
imagine.
7.
Like, what is, like, there's a whole other experience I can't even imagine. And maybe I will someday, and maybe I already have. Who knows? But that's not what this is now.
Right. All different experiences. And we learn from each other. Like, you go,
Yeah.
wow, tell me about that.
Yeah.
That must be fascinating.
Yeah.
Love to hear about it, because that's not what I did this time. I had a different job. You know, I was over there in the tech
Exactly.
room. You know, whatever. It's more like that. We're all just on mission. The way I see it, we're all
Yep.
on mission. I'm like, well, I've been over here. To me, it's about time put in. So, like my friend who does a lot of realty, stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do the docs. You're better at that because you have the time put in. I've been like doing healing and channeling and like spirit stuff this incarnation. I can do like the other stuff. I've been running administrative. I run a nonprofit. I run Love Roots, but it's different than like hardcore
You know what?
documents.
I know exactly what you
you
mean.
know, and I'm
'cause-
like, if you
yeah.
actually studied that stuff, here, it's all you because you've got the time put in. And
it's the
I
time
value
put in,
that.
and it's also how it makes a person feel. Like for me, I can do that kind of detail work, and it's not really good for me.
I feel the same way. I can do it, but it
It's a
doesn't.
can. It doesn't.
It doesn't feel good for me either. It's not enjoyable.
Right.
And that's why if someone has the time put in that department, I'm more than happy to
Yeah.
go. You know what you're doing, and it'll take you 30 minutes, which will take me 2 hours.
Right.
You know, let's
right.
just
and
quicken
not
it
just
up.
the time, but also how
The
it affects
feeling.
you. Right.
Yeah.
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 So we value
Yeah.
each other for our time. And that's it. I think that. So what I'm trying to say there is we're all in the unified field. We're all equal as souls. And because we're in frameworks, we do want to honor, respect, value each other's time put in. What you've put in as a person, if so-and-so has studied this, I'm going to defer to that person in the room.
Well, it's like we're here right now. I've been doing the radio for 9 years. So for me to handle the engineering part of this show,
yeah.
it's second nature. If I could teach you to do it and you could do it, what would be the point? Like, unless you wanted to do it.
And I actually came in today and said, "Oh, EILA, look at you. You're just like amazing doing all this stuff. Like, thank you. I just get to sit here."
Yeah.
Like, and it's like literally like honor her that she put the time in to sit here and learn it all. She's
Right.
been doing the work. I just get to breeze in and have a conversation.
Blow in and chat and blow out.
And blow out. And, but there's other places where I've done a lot of work and I had to put the time in, and other people breeze in and blow out. So we're
Exactly.
all getting to do different pieces.
Yeah.
And we get to know, well, we all get to do that somewhere. If we all contribute something into the greater harmony, you contribute your portion, whatever that looks like for you. It's not going to look like Isla's. I'm not going to look like her. She's not going to look like me, but we're both doing that which is like our part, but it looks different because we're different vessels, we're different people. So we get to follow our bliss, follow our guidance. And then in doing so, if we all live from that heart place, well, then everything kind of just happens because it's all magically unfolding because we're in alignment to that which is in the highest good.
Yeah, and that makes the world a better place for everybody. And we're near the end of our show, so
We are. So
Yeah.
in parting, I guess I just want to, kind of, we've talked about consciousness traps and these metaphors and staying in the center so you don't get caught in any of those things. So we can just stay in your heart, stay in our love. All of us stay in our heart, stay in our love, and meet whoever comes in front of you as they are you. Because I am you, you are me. And there's nobody out there. So we get to just remember that and love one another because it's tricky, it's hard, and you never know what someone else is going through. You never know what they've been through. They might look a certain way. You might think, oh, they've got it dialed. But just trust me. I've been through all sorts of things that you don't know about. And
I just said that the other day to someone who had a big deal fall through, and the behaviors that they had to deal with weren't so great. And it just came out of my mouth. I'm like, you just never know what that person is dealing with.
Exactly.
So
you don't.
send them love and let it go and move on. And
people are moving through many things. So the more compassion that we can all have for each other and just be gentle with yourself and with others because we're all doing our best, mostly. And we all, I think most people have intention. Their intention is to come into more love. So if we all just keep following that guidance, it's all going to be all right.
it's all good.
It's all okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Blessings out there.
Have a beautiful day, everybody. And stay tuned for Women's Voices coming up next.